Hey guys, this is Mark with Tech Necessity. Today I'm going to be doing a motion tutorial that's going to show you how you can add a custom animated highlight to any of your still image logos that looks something like this. Sometimes if you have a logo and you want to make it stand out a little bit, make it kind of come alive, there's a way you can do that by simply just adding a little bit of an animation to it. I'm going to show you today how we can do a highlight in your logo. But first, if you like my channel, please subscribe. Let's get into it. Alright, so the first thing we're going to do is open up Motion. I'm going to start a new project. I'm going to keep it at Broadcast HD 1080, 2997 NTSC. And go ahead and click Open. Size this up. I'm going to change by hitting Shift Z, I'm going to make my window so I can see everything. Alright, so the first thing I'm going to do is go ahead and import my logo. So if I go up to the Import button here, click that, and then I have my logo right here. So I'm going to select this one, Import. When I exported this logo originally, it was a 720 image, so that's why it's a little small. So I'm going to hold the Shift key and drag the corners to size it up to fit this window. And when I'm all finished with this, this logo is actually going to have a transparent background. So if I go here and I change my background to transparent, you can see it's going to look like this. So that way I can place it over any of my videos, and it'll have the transparent background. I'm going to change it back to color though, so I can see it a little easier. So the first thing I want to do is actually create a second layer for this, but you know what, I'm going to check my project duration first. Right now it's set to 2 seconds. I'm going to double click here and change this to 5 seconds. So I'm going to hit 5, period, enter. So now my project is 5 seconds long, and I'm just going to stretch this out to fill the entire 5 seconds. Select my group, move my playhead to the end, press the O key for out, and it will extend it to the end of where my playhead is. Alright, so now what I want to do is actually create a second layer. So I'm going to right click on this layer, duplicate. So now what I have is 2 layers right on top of each other, and what I want to do is I want to make the top layer a lot brighter. And then what I'm going to do is add a mask to show through. It'll appear as if there's a highlight on the particular logo that I have here. So the first thing I'm going to do is go up to my top layer, and I'm going to add a filter. Go down to color and then levels. What this is going to allow me to do is increase the brightness of my image. So if I go over to my inspector, drag my brightness here, you can see it's actually getting quite a bit brighter. So now what I've done is I've increased the brightness on the image that's above my other image. So what I want to do now is mask this off so that I only see a portion of the bright part. And the way I'm going to do that is by using a Bezier mask. So down here, click on this little icon and go down to Bezier mask. And then I'm actually going to shrink down my window so I can see it a little bit better. So I'm going to change it to 25% so it's smaller. And then what I do is I'm going to click, and I'm just going to draw it at a little bit of an angle too, because I think it looks better. I'm going to draw a mask like that. So now what you can see, and let me deselect this, is we have this, go back to full screen, Shift Z. what we have is this line that's running through it. Now that doesn't really look like a highlight because it's such a sharp line. So what we want to do is feather the edge of that mask a little bit. So if I select the mask here in my layers and I go over to the mask menu, I have the feather and fall off. So I'm going to adjust the feather. I'm going to bring that all the way up. And even though it only goes to 100 by dragging this, if you click on the number itself and drag up, you can actually make it larger than what it says. I'm going to take this up to 200. If I adjust my fall off, you know what, I'm going to just bring that up just a tad, not too much. But now, as you can see, if I deselect my layer, it's not a hard edge on here anymore. It's more of a gradual feathered edge, which is what we're looking for. So if I go back to, I'm going to zoom out a little bit again, 25%. I'm going to click on my mask, and now what I want to do is I want to actually animate this mask to swipe across my logo. So the way I'm going to do that is by using keyframes. So if I go over to my mask here, if I go to properties, I have my position. So right now the X position is what I want to change. So if I click right here on the X position and I move it up and down, you can see that the mask actually moves left and right across the image. So what I'm going to do is I'm going to take this all the way down, negative, looks like negative, around negative 811. Take it down just a tad more. Let's say negative 815. So negative 815, if you look over here in the viewer window here, you can see that the mask is just off the edge of the screen. So what I'm going to do now is animate this mask to move across my logo. So what I want to do is set a keyframe now for my position. And then I'm going to move my playhead to the 5-second mark at the very end of my clip. And then I'm going to click here and drag up to move that mask across my logo. So I'm going to take this up to probably about 800, a little less, right about 745. So if I drop that right there. So now what I've done is I've created a keyframe, a set of keyframes that's going to move this mask across my image in 5 seconds. So if I drag my player back to the beginning and I click, let me go ahead and zoom back into this full screen. So if I click on here and I hit Shift Z, we go full screen. Now I'm going to play this and you'll see as the highlight will go across my logo. So what it does is it sort of gives the appearance that there's a light that's being shined across the logo. I found that this can be very helpful. It actually adds a lot to your editing and your images. If you just have a still image like this and you add that to it, it kind of makes it come alive. I hope this video was helpful, and I'll see you next time on Tech Necessity.